Let's begin by looking at how one factory in Japan set about shaping up its shop floor. This factory produces oil and water pumps for a large car manufacturer, all the way through from parts processing to assembly. You would expect the factory to be very dirty, but in fact it is famous for its cleanliness. Has it always been like this? Not at all. Let's take a brief look at the process they have to go through to get it like this. How about this for dirt and dust? Once everyone in the company had agreed that dirt was a major problem in the production process, the company decided to go all out in its implementation of the 5S program, beginning with this major cleaning operation, which produced over 7 tons of waste. The result was the creation of a more pleasant and efficient workplace, reliable products, and more job satisfaction. But the process was not limited simply to keeping the factory clean. The company decided that pumps can be beautiful and created this pump garden, complete with traditional Japanese-style room and sunken fireplace, even a tranquil Japanese garden. But what is this all about? Why did they take things so far? Why did they want to create a workplace like this using so much time and effort and money? And how do they keep it so clean? And just what does the pump garden mean? Is it just a kind of unusual guest room, or does it have some special meaning? Let's see what the factory manager has to say about it.
It all began about 9 years ago when we decided to construct a new integrated plant to improve productivity. Up to then, we had 2 separate plants, the manufacturing plant, which was very oily and dirty, and the assembly plant, which was very clean. It was, of course, a big problem trying to combine 2 totally different working environments. Normally, if you put clean with dirty, everything ends up dirty. We decided to do it the other way around, to make everything clean, and then do our best to keep it spotless. In other words, we decided to go all the way with everyone's cooperation and really create the kind of place that we'd want to work in. We reckon that if it's possible to keep your own house clean, then it should be possible to do the same at the workplace. That meant a thorough application of the 5S program. We came up with many ideas for getting rid of dirt and oil leaks and so on, and the idea of the pump garden gradually developed as a kind of symbol of what we were trying to do. Now it's become a place where everyone can relax and feel refreshed. It's amazing what an effect our emphasis on creating a clean and well-organized workplace has had, both on morale and on general productivity.
It was indeed a bold step to try and combine 2 very different factories. But excellent results have been achieved through company-wide cooperation. The employees put forward over 20,000 suggestions as the process went on. In fact, this has become a model factory, and it is constantly receiving visitors from other companies who are eager to see the effects of a concerted and ongoing application of the 5S system. The image not only of the integrated plant, but also of the whole company has been greatly improved.
What you have just seen is a perfect example of a company taking on a real challenge and developing lots of ideas to try and improve the whole production process. The 5S system actually consists of thousands of little daily operations which must all be well organized, completely understood by everyone, and maintained constantly. To get a system like this to work means encouraging all the employees to cooperate in a real spirit of teamwork. It is very easy to achieve some improvements and then gradually let things slip until the old problems reoccur. But if everyone realizes the value of the improvements, then the system can be maintained with confidence and a lot of satisfaction. Before we consider each step in detail, Let's take a general look at the way the 5S program is associated with safety, efficiency, quality, and the elimination of breakdowns, as well as a few hints for 5S application.
First, the connection between the 5S program and safety in the workplace. Oh! Watch out! Oh no! Oh, just missed. Clearly, a dirty, cluttered workplace cannot be regarded as a safe place to work. A common feature of factories all over the world is the number of safety notices posted up everywhere. The only problem is that most of the time nobody pays any attention to them. But safety should be a prime concern in any workplace. Safety measures include the use of helmets, suitable working shoes, keeping your eyes open at all times for potential dangers, and so on. There are so many things to be considered. But, as we shall show later, a workplace which applies the 5S program properly not only has fewer accidents, there is even less need for having safety posters at all. Safety depends on proper care and good organization, precisely what the 5S program is all about. A concern for safety should become second nature. Next, let's see how the 5S program affects efficiency. Look at this shine! This will produce perfect parts every time. Now what's going on here? Well, this group is about to get going on an intensive 5-minute 5S cleaning operation, and they're pumping themselves up for it. By sharing the same purpose and working together like this, what is rather unexciting work is given more zest and is done more efficiently. And the more the 5S program is applied, the more efficient the whole workplace will become. Next, how does the 5S program affect quality? Hey! What are you doing in that pile of filings? The 5S program can help with this kind of problem too. Shavings or filings of metal and dust left on machines can be a major reason for reduced efficiency. If the accuracy of the processing procedure is reduced, bad products will be the result. And if this is caused by your own laziness, you have no one to blame but yourself. Just a bit of extra effort on everybody's part can make a huge difference. These days, everybody demands the highest quality, and that can be achieved by applying the 5S program. Finally, how can the 5S program help to eliminate breakdowns? Ah, wrong button! Woo, that was a close call. That's funny. It worked all right last week. The first point being made here is that making a mistake with buttons or switches can be disastrous. That's why clear labelling and preventative maintenance are an integral part of the 5S program. The second point is that breakdowns caused by the accumulation of dirt need never occur. We'll be looking at both these important points in detail later. The 5S program can bring about dramatic improvements in the workplace in terms of safety, efficiency, quality, and the elimination of breakdowns. But how do we go about applying the system in practical terms? The 5S program is a system that needs constant attention, It involves many seemingly unimportant tasks, and there is always the danger of being half-hearted about them. But an effort has to be made to identify even the smallest of problem areas and ensure that appropriate action is taken. That means systematic discussion, planning, and implementation of improvements, bearing in mind that improvements can only be achieved a little at a time. The world cannot be changed overnight. Here are 4 important general points to remember about 5S activities. 1. Fix the rules and stick to them. For example, decide how to do cleaning operations, identify unnecessary items, and make activities such as 5-minute 5S a regular habit. 2. A place for everything and everything in its place. This includes the provision of special tailor-made shelves and storage places for tools, and the use of proper marks and labels. 3. If nothing is done, nothing will improve. This means looking for good solutions to workplace problems, as for example in this case, where sloping trays and a vibrating channel serve to accumulate all the metal waste in one place. 4. If you can't do it yourself, ask for help. Once you've found a problem, then of course you try to find a solution yourself first. But if you can't do anything, don't waste time. Ask for help from someone in a related section. You might think that the 5S program simply states the obvious. In many ways that is true. But as we proceed to look at each of the 5 steps in detail, we hope you will realize what extraordinary changes can be brought about by the careful and continuous application of the organized common sense of the 5S program. Would you rather work in this kind of environment, or get rid of it once and for all and replace it with a workplace that is pleasant to work in and increases job satisfaction while ensuring reliable products? You might even begin to think about something like the pump garden in your own factory, a coffee lounge perhaps, or an indoor garden. All that's needed is the idea, the enthusiasm, and the willingness to make the effort. Now let's take a look at each of the 5 steps in turn. The first and perhaps most important step in the 5S program is clearing up. What this basically involves is the sorting out of what is really necessary and what is not, and deciding how to organize the workplace accordingly. If you take a careful look at your workplace, you will almost certainly find tools or gadgets that are broken or unusable or only occasionally used. All they're doing is cluttering up the place. So what can be done with them? Having made the decision to clear up the workplace, the first thing is to decide what to do with unnecessary things. Doing the job properly will also involve a major cleaning operation and fixing a policy for broken or useless items. Eliminating waste can be dealt with by classification or appropriate action at the source of the problem. If you think about how you use your tools, it should be easy to decide which ones are in constant use and which are hardly ever used. Frequency of use can apply to files, jigs, and all kinds of equipment as well. This process is known as classification. Once every item is classified, it is possible to decide what to do with each category. For example, workplace clutter can be avoided by storing tools which are rarely used in a special tools area somewhere in the factory for easy access when needed. This chart shows how to classify tools by frequency of use. Infrequently used tools can be thrown away or stored in a distant place. Tools with average frequency of use can be stored together somewhere in the factory. Tools often used can be carried around or kept at the actual workplace. So what do we achieve by all this? We can reduce clutter at the workplace and so improve efficiency. We can dispose of really unnecessary items. We can find what we want easily, and we can save a lot of time and effort. Now let's have a look at the kind of unnecessary things we might have and some of the places where they tend to accumulate. The list is almost endless. It includes bulletin boards, walls, outside the factory, etc. Shelves and lockers are the most obvious place to leave things, especially on the top and bottom shelves. Aisles and corners, just the places we don't want to have obstacles. All kinds of bits and pieces of work in progress get stuffed behind machines. All kinds of broken or unused tools, jigs, gauges and pieces of equipment are left lying about. Tools and raw materials can be dropped, mislaid, or even deliberately stored in holes, cracks and crannies, odd corners behind machines and cabinets, or even under the floor. Without constant attention, warehouses and storerooms quickly fill up and get cluttered. They can easily turn into giant wastebaskets. Classification of items can be done by frequency of use. Now, what about dirt and leakages? In any factory, if no action is taken, the situation can only get worse. One factory was able to reduce oil consumption by 50% simply by getting rid of leaks. The action taken here to get rid of dirt and waste was to collect leaking oil in a container like this and then remove it by a simple one-touch operation. Now let's take a look at the procedure necessary to deal with dirt and leakages. First, it is important to make clear the extent of the problem. Once you have established that, you can proceed with a major cleaning operation. The next thing is to make sure that the same situation will not reoccur. This means investigating the basic reasons for the problem. The fourth step is to determine the worst locations and list up priorities for taking action. Now is the time to investigate the reasons in great detail. Only then is it possible to consider what policy of action will get rid of the problems altogether. There are two different types of action depending on the reasons for the problem. Here is an example of taking action by using a device. Where previously a big cover was used to restrict the spread of sparks, a small automatic cover was installed near the cause of the problem. This is doing something to eliminate the cause of the problem, or at least to minimize the effect. Another type of action is needed when the problem is caused by inaccessibility. In the case of the metal filings, a solution was needed to make cleaning easier. Accumulation was the answer to get rid of waste. And in the case of the oil leakage, accumulating the waste in one place removed the cleaning problem. So the final step in the procedure is to decide on the budget and the schedule and then fully implement the plan. So now we have the complete list of the 7 steps necessary for dealing with dirt and leakages. It's a good idea to put them on a chart so that you can check progress and assign individual responsibilities. And just a reminder, step 1 involves sorting out what is really necessary and what is not, and finding ways to classify or take action at the source. Also involved is implementation of a major cleaning operation and deciding what to do with broken or useless items in the workplace. Now let's take a look at a factory where step 1 has been applied very enthusiastically. This factory produces machine tools, vehicle parts, and mechatronics equipment. The first impression visitors have is how clean and tidy it is. The walls of meeting rooms all over the plant are covered with posters and labels, and one word appears many times: showroom, because this is known as the showroom workplace. What does that mean?
Well, the normal idea of a showroom is a place where fine products are on display and good service is evident. We decided to really concentrate on the use of the 5S system and the development of a showroom workplace. This idea has gradually spread throughout the plant and been eagerly implemented. The idea is that the whole factory is a showroom where we can demonstrate to our customers just where and how our products are made. So even before they buy from us, they can see our production system, workers, and general environment, and they realize we are producing things correctly. We have the confidence to do this, and the result is that our customers trust us.
Now let's hear from the group leader of the first section to be made into a showroom.
When we first heard about the idea of making a showroom workplace, all the members of my section were very keen on the idea, especially as we would be the first part of the factory to go on display. It was an experimental idea, but we all soon got involved in the necessary cleaning and tidying up. We thought it was a real challenge and it would greatly improve our working conditions. I decided that, as group leader, I would set an example, and I got down on the floor and did a lot of painting myself. It was a lot of hard work and involved a lot of planning, but, as you can see, the result is a spotless workplace which we're all proud to show to visitors. And it's had a great effect on the general morale of my team as well.
Now a word from a member of the group.
As a member of the group which was chosen to make the first showroom workplace, I realized that it wasn't going to be easy to completely clear up the section and make it suitable for anyone to come and have a look at any time. But we all decided to give it a go as best we could, and when we'd gotten the place ready and people started coming round, we were all very pleased to hear such good comments. All the other sections were very impressed too and wanted to do the same thing. Now we're all very happy to keep the workplace in the best possible condition at all times.
The reason for the success of the showroom idea in this factory was a very strict application of the principles of the 5S system. Beginning, of course, with the clearing up procedures we've been looking at in this part of the video. The work proceeded gradually, step by step, but because of the enthusiasm everyone showed for working together, it was possible to create a new environment which always receives the acclaim of visitors. Now a few checkpoints for your workplace. Check 1. Can you find any unnecessary things cluttering up your workplace? Check 2. Are there any unnecessary cables or pipes just left as they are? Check 3. Are there any tools or materials left on the floor? Check 4. Are all unnecessary items sorted out, classified, stored, and labelled? Check 5. Are all gauges and tools properly classified and stored? We hope you now have some ideas for how to proceed with the first of the 5 S's, clearing up. In many ways, the most vital part of the 5S program. Your attitude towards clearing up reflects your general attitude to work. By applying the system and ensuring that everyone in the workplace keeps the system going, you can achieve immediate and very positive results. In Volume 2, we will take a look at the next 2 steps. How about this for a spotless factory? Surely anybody would be happy to work in a tidy, well-organized workplace like this. But such a place is the result not just of hoping for improvement, but of everyone in the factory getting together and working at it step by step with a clear purpose in mind. In this section of the video, we will take a look at step 2 of the 5S program, organizing, and show how it plays a vital role in the general improvement of any factory environment. The basic point of workplace organization is to fix the layout of tools and equipment so that everything is readily available just when it is needed. In step 1, we cleared up. Now we have to sort out storage. Exactly what, where, and how many. One of the most common ways of wasting time and effort is the process of searching for something we want on badly organized shelves. This really is a pointless waste of energy, especially when we are hurrying to meet a deadline. It leads to frustration and stress and a great decline in both efficiency and productivity. So what practical steps can we take to remove this problem? Here is the basic procedure for organizing. First, it is necessary to analyze the present situation before deciding on the appropriate storage place. Then a storage method must be fixed. The final step is to make sure that all storage rules are strictly kept at all times and by everybody involved. This is the way to efficiency. Many factories nowadays share the same problem, the necessity to produce a large number of different items in small quantities. This involves many logistical problems, and without complete job efficiency, the company can easily get into trouble. One assembly plant carefully analyzed the efficiency movement of parts, jigs and tools within the factory every day. This chart shows the movement of parts, jigs and tools in terms of number of times per day and distance carried. As you can see, the situation varied a lot. The total daily distance was about 180 kilometers. The conclusion of this analysis was that storing the most regularly used items within 40 to 60 centimeters of the workplace could lead to a tremendous improvement in efficiency. More detailed analysis can be done by classifying the work involved like this. There are 5 basic activities: making sure of the name of the item, going to get it, searching for it, taking it out, and carrying it back. If we then further divide these points, the real problems that are wasting time become very clear. For example, with activity 2, we might discover that the storage place is not clear, it is too far away, items are spread over a large area, or the same process is repeated many times every day. There are 3 basic rules for the storage place. The first one is to get rid of unnecessary items. Ask yourself some questions. Can we decrease the stock? Can we stick to a principle of only using one of each item? The second rule is to decide a proper storage layout and detailed classification system. In other words, there should be definite types of item and a strict policy everyone knows about. The third, and often overlooked rule, is the standardization of names. It may turn out that everyone is referring to the same item by a different name, which can only lead to mistakes and confusion. The next thing is to decide how to store items. Here's an example of a clever idea somebody came up with. When you insert the card, a lamp goes on to show where the item you want is stored. No mistakes, no wasted time. It's important to remember that it is very easy to mix up similar items, especially when you're in a hurry, which is not only inefficient, it can even be dangerous. Here are the 3 basic points for fixing the storage method. The first thing is to discuss in detail the most functional method, which will lead to complete avoidance of waste in terms of quality, safety, and efficiency. This includes being very careful about similar names, numbers, and shapes. The second point is really important. It is essential to display names and numbers clearly and indicate where the items are stored. This must be done in a way that anyone can easily understand. There are, of course, many ways of doing this, and the most suitable has to be found for your particular requirements. One good idea is to make the name or number of the item and the place it is stored into a set. For example, the number of the item is also the number of the shelf on which the item is stored. We will look at this in detail in the next video. The third point is to find ways to improve the process of taking out and storing. There are 2 different ways of grouping items for storage. By function, in other words, all similar tools stored together, or in sets for a particular job, or for a particular part of the production line. It is necessary to decide which way is suitable for your own requirements. One method of storage is to use trays like this for each set, that can be easily loaded straight onto a trolley, even if they are heavy. Here we see some examples of toolkits for specific work processes. None of the points we've already dealt with will mean anything if the storage rules are not kept at all times. If, for example, a particular tool is missing, it's no good at all if it is not clear whether it is simply being used by someone else and has not been returned yet, or is actually lost. Fixing the rules and sticking to them avoids a lot of problems, especially when there is a need for immediate action. Here are the 3 main points for sticking to the rules. The first point is to ensure that there is daily control of items and to avoid stock shortages. If there is a stock shortage, there should be an indication that orders have already been made. To avoid this, it is better to decide minimum necessary stock levels so that there will never be a shortage. If an item has simply not yet been returned, there should be an indication of who is using the item and when it will be returned. If each storage place is in the shape of the item, or if there is a clear indication as to how many items should be available, then it will be obvious when some item is actually missing. The second point is to improve general procedures for getting tools quickly and efficiently. In the case of replacement parts in particular, there may be a huge variety of types and numbers, and the use of detailed order documents may be the best way to avoid mistakes. Tools which are in constant use can be classified as regular items and stored at the side of the production line. The third point is to make sure that there is proper training in all the procedures that have been fixed. This graph shows the results of a kind of efficiency game played in one factory. Everyone in the workplace was carefully timed to see how long it took to find, take out and return 6 items. As the game was repeated, a significant improvement could be seen in the time taken to complete the process. Now a few checkpoints for your workplace. Check 1. Are the positions of main corridors, aisles and storage places clearly marked? Check 2. Are tools divided into specialized use and regular items? Check 3. Are pallets always stacked to the proper height? Check 4. Is anything stored around fire extinguishers? Check 5. Does the floor have any depressions, protrusions, cracks or obstacles? An untidy, disorganized workplace means waste of time, waste of effort and general inefficiency. But a careful application of all these points about organization can ensure that anybody can quickly find anything at any time and return it just as quickly. Time now to move on to step 3 of the 5S program. The third of the 5 S's may sound simple enough, cleaning. But in practice, step 3 involves many activities. By cleaning, we basically mean removing everything from the workplace that shouldn't really be there and maintaining everything in the best possible condition by constant checking and constant care. The essence of cleaning is careful checking. The first point to stress is that it is impossible to be too clean. Accumulations of dust or oil or fine metal shavings or dirt of any kind can easily lead to faulty machines, inferior products, loss of efficiency, and even accidents. A careful look around any factory will reveal all kinds of dirt problems, all of which can be eliminated only by careful consideration, appropriate cleaning procedures, and prevention measures. Let's take a look first at a factory which had major cleaning problems. You will remember that at the beginning of Volume 1, we took a brief look at a pump factory which had to clear up completely. Here is another factory with similar problems. On this production line, automobile vibration damping sheets are turned out using asphalt. The extensive use of powder in the process means that the whole working environment quickly gets really dirty. The company decided to tackle the problem in a big way, starting with the main line as a test case. This major cleaning operation produced huge amounts of dirt and dust from the roof beams and above the ducts, far more than anyone had expected.
Our main problem was the nature of the raw materials used in the production process. Not only was there a tremendous amount of dust, we also had a lot of leakage and spillage as well. We decided we should try and start with a clean slate, so to speak. That meant a full-scale cleaning operation. The first thing to do was to get everyone on the shop floor interested in cleaning the place up and getting involved in the actual cleaning process. We couldn't have done it without the full cooperation of all the workers. The film gives you some idea of the scale of the operation and the amount of dirt we had to remove. Over 1 ton just from the main production line alone.
A great deal of preparation was necessary, including finding suitable equipment and also clothes for everyone involved.
At first, we were going to use air jets to remove the dirt. But when we realized the scale of the problem, it looked as though we would create mountains of dust in the factory. So we switched to heavy-duty vacuum cleaners, which worked very well. We had many problems finding the right protective clothing, too. Obviously, we were going to get covered in dust. So we started out wearing overalls, raincoats, and protective goggles. But after 10 minutes or so, it was like a sauna inside the raincoats. In the end, we decided to use overalls only.
This is the cleaning strategy adopted in this case. The procedure was very effective. In fact, the results were so positive, it was later decided to clean the whole factory in the same way.
It certainly wasn't an easy job to do, but when we saw just how much dirt there was, we realized that it had been the right thing to do. Our main challenge now is to keep the machines as clean as we can. It's really difficult to avoid the same problems happening again. We can only really do that by tracking down where the dirt comes from in each case.
Cleaning activities can be roughly divided into 3 separate stages. The first involves the whole factory and major cleaning operations of the type we've just seen. It also means searching for dirt sources. The second stage is dealing with individual workplaces and particular machines. The third stage is to get down to details and devise ways of cleaning and checking machines, jigs and tools to prevent the occurrence of defects. We call this Equipment 5S. We've already examined major cleaning operations. Let's take a close look now at the second and third stages. A frequent problem is the question of who takes responsibility for equipment used by many people. In practice, nobody does. This is often true of particular areas of the shop floor as well. This means that such things or places rapidly become dirty. Let's look at procedures for cleaning the workplace. The best way to clarify cleaning responsibilities is to make a chart which indicates the role every person should take. The biggest problem here is to indicate precisely the demarcation lines and ensure there are no blank areas where no one takes responsibility. Although this is a question of individual responsibilities, it is necessary to stress that everyone should help other members of the team as necessary. The point here is that regular and systematic cleaning of particular areas and equipment is likely to indicate problem spots and perhaps indicate reasons for inferior products or minor stoppages. Cleaning can lead to real improvements. The third step is to look for ways to speed up the whole cleaning process by improving cleaning techniques and equipment, and also thinking of how to deal with places that are difficult to clean. Here is the group we saw before, working up some team spirit for a 5-minute spell of intense 5S activities. In this factory, they make it a rule to do this every day at a fixed time. A concerted group effort like this can actually achieve a lot in a short time and makes everyone think about product quality and safety. One of the interesting results of regular concentrated cleaning is just how many defects or minor trouble points emerge. It is quite possible to find dozens of these in one workplace. For example, dirt or objects stuck on machines, shortage of oil, something loose or improperly fixed, broken parts, and so on. And the reaction to such things is often, why didn't I notice this before? I thought this machine was safe. Here is the procedure for Equipment 5S. First, you have to choose the object and analyze the problem or problems. Then, by full cleaning and checking operations, it should be possible to identify defects and minor trouble points. By filling in a detailed check sheet and discussing and analyzing the reasons for the problems, it will then be possible to plan appropriate action and implement it. Whatever the problem, it is important to discuss it with other staff members and management-level colleagues. Proper implementation needs clear and systematic presentation from the beginning. Now let's take a look at a factory which has implemented many improvements in an attempt to keep the workplace clean. This is a company producing car mufflers, car parts, and various steel products. Many problems are caused by the shower of sparks during welding. Electric lines can melt, products can be damaged, and a considerable amount of ash is generated by each machine, as you can see. To restrict the shower of sparks, a special cover was created after a great deal of discussion. After several failures, such an effective improvement becomes a kind of prototype model which may then be reproduced throughout the factory. Another improvement was this small spark cap, which turned out to be extremely successful.
Before we started using this little cap, we had all kinds of problems at work. I had burns all over my face and neck, but now the whole place has changed. It's become a really pleasant place to work.
The spark cap is made of silicon. When it was decided that something should be done about the sparks, there were several requirements to be met. It had to be heat-proof, strong, and soft, so that it wouldn't damage the machine or the product. In this company, innovations are the result of examining the source of problem areas and considering possible solutions with great care. This is a vital part of the whole cleaning process. Now a few checkpoints for your workplace. Check 1. Look carefully at the floor, aisles and around machines. How much oil, dirt, dust and metal shavings can you find? Check 2. Are any parts of the machines dirty with oil or metal fragments? Check 3. Are any supply lines or pipes oily, dirty or hard? Check 4. Are oil outlets clogged with dirt? Check 5. Are light bulbs, reflectors or shades dirty? The cleanliness of any workplace is very much a barometer of the attitudes of the people who work in it. Cleaning and polishing, and the constant checking that goes with them, can really focus attention on the little problems that can have such a big effect on the whole company in the long run. Now let's move on to Volume 3 for the final 2 steps. The 4th step of the 5S program is called standardizing. It involves the maintenance of a clean working environment free of pollution and completely safe and well organized. Standardizing is the way to maintain the results achieved by constant application of steps 1, 2 and 3. One important part of step 4 is to develop a clear system whereby any machine malfunctions or abnormalities can be recognized at a glance and dealt with even if they only rarely occur. Such a system must be very visible and also easily understood by everyone. The role of step 4 is to ensure the maintenance of the effectiveness of all 5S activities through standardization. Let's look in detail at just how standardization helps to reveal abnormalities and malfunctions. Every workplace is full of machines and pieces of equipment of many different types. But there is a real problem if the operator of each machine is the only person who can spot abnormalities and malfunctions. It is vital that in an emergency, anyone in the section can react to the situation quickly and effectively. The key to this is a clear and complete system of labeling and marking. Every attempt should be made to make malfunctions visible. In other words, to show the situation clearly. Let's look at the main points about visual control. Here are the main points about recognizing malfunctions. 1. What are the most important points to be checked? 2. What counts as a malfunction? There must be a clear standard. 3. Can the malfunction be noticed? What kind of checking equipment is used? Can everything be seen and checked easily? 4. What kind of action is needed? Everyone must know exactly what to do in emergencies and be aware of the importance of constant maintenance and the search for improvements. We can call these points visual control. It's no good if everybody has their own ideas about how to proceed with the 5S program. A manual like this is needed to standardize the whole control system. Labels like this indicate the direction of flow inside pipes. The color, size and meaning of arrows should be clearly indicated. The positioning of labels should also be standardized like this, both in terms of distance from a junction point and to ensure maximum visibility. Such standardization is necessary for reasons of safety and maintenance and will help anyone who has to deal with any problems arising with the system. A standardization manual is of great value in demonstrating visually all aspects of visual control. As we have said, the main role of Step 4 is to ensure the maintenance of all 5S activities through standardization. There are many ways of marking equipment, but it must never be done just according to individual preference. Again, the whole observation process demands total standardization as well as the implementation of innovative ideas and devices. We can divide the observation process into three main areas. Let's look at some examples of labels which indicate names and condition of equipment. Here is a typical label indicating type of oil and lubrication information. Labels for measuring tools can indicate cycles and accuracy and control levels. Tools need maintenance labels just like automobile inspection labels. Heat-sensitive labels and crayons can change color when the temperature goes beyond certain levels. Labels and tags should clearly show who is responsible for particular machines or pieces of equipment. The second area of observation control is the indication of limits in a way that will immediately strike the eye. Normal use limits and danger zones can be indicated by colors or lines. A very simple but effective idea is to show whether, for example, nuts and bolts are correctly aligned together or not. This idea has many applications in a variety of situations. Position marks clearly indicate where a particular item should be kept. The third area of observation control is improved visibility. One way of improving visibility is to devise ways of doing without a cover, or, as in this case, designing a transparent cover so that the movement of the machine can easily be checked at any time. This device serves a similar purpose, to indicate clearly the working condition of the machine. There is often a need to ensure that certain levels are maintained. Different kinds of scales or limit indicators can be used to reveal abnormalities quickly, such as this float device. Now let's take a look at standardizing in practice. This company produces springs of many types for the automobile industry. The company has to ensure efficiency and quality control while dealing with a great variety of products one after the other in a short space of time. The standardization idea developed was to provide clean and accessible storage for the metal molds used in production. The company calls this its jewelry box storage system.
We decided to devise a completely new storage system because of the number of faulty products we were getting. We realized the problem was that we were using the same molds over and over without cleaning them properly or taking care of storage. Various workers made suggestions, and we gradually came up with our jewelry box system. We established storage rules. For example, the direction the molds were to face, and strict horizontal and vertical shelving. We also developed the idea of using rails and rollers for easy loading and unloading. Now everyone is keen to maintain the system and look after the molds carefully. It's had an enormous effect on productivity.
A maintenance manual was produced to set out all storage and maintenance rules for various categories of mold. This means that any mold can be used efficiently whenever required. The jewelry box storage system developed here is an excellent example of the way in which standardization can facilitate maintenance and control, improve the general working environment, and also reduce waste by ensuring the production of products of a consistently high quality. Now a few checkpoints for your workplace. Check 1. Are you wearing dirty or dangerous clothing? Check 2. Does your workplace have adequate lighting and power supply? Check 3. Do you have problems from noise, vibrations, or heat? Check 4. Does the roof leak? Check 5. Do you have fixed areas for eating and smoking? As we have seen, standardization is the key to maintaining high standards of work efficiency. By ensuring visibility in the workplace, we can guarantee that necessary action is taken quickly. The situation in the factory should be similar to that on the roads. Appropriate and clear signs that anyone can understand, but not so many that the eye gets confused. The main thing is to decide what visual controls are suitable for your working environment and then standardize them. And now we move on to the final step. The final step of the 5S program